new poll numbers are out for Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, and they are not great, which is interesting, right? Because it does seem that they are tracking with the low approval numbers of American President Joe Biden, which are circling the drain. Now, they're not quite as bad, but when asked, Canadians 18 and older, a combined 55% of them said that they either somewhat disapprove or strongly disapprove of Trudeau's performance. Additionally, 60% agree that the Prime Minister has been divisive during his term.
Is it because of his haircut?
Who are the 40% that think he has not been divisive? I do have a theory about the haircut. So you know the biblical story of Samson? When he cuts his hair, he can no longer lift heavy things, right? So he had superhuman strength with those long, luscious locks. But then when they were cut in his sleep, he lost all his superpower. So the haircut, I do not think was a very good omen.
Yeah, but he was losing these. I think, but see, he was already losing these powers. Like he was over the past few years. I mean, we really started focusing more on what he was doing around January. Of course, the trucker convoy and what he was doing to take away liberties of Canadian truckers and Canadians.
Yeah, because he had the beautiful locks when he did that.
Yeah,
he did.
He had the long hair when he did that. In fact, he had a beard during the winter, right? But even beyond that, his push towards clamping down on Canadian Canadian speech, of course, the social media bill. The list now is growing tremendously, of course. So I think that this was already happening. I don't know this. I think maybe it's like a summer cut of desperation. That haircut.
It's very perplexing.
I just can't get over it.
I have so many thoughts about it. So many thoughts.
Yeah. I mean,
if he starts wearing yellow jumpsuits, I think that's when we really need to be concerned, because I think that he's going by way of insane.
Yeah. I think he is. British Columbia,
a yellow velour jumpsuit.
Manitoba, Saskatchewan represent the areas with the highest disapproval ratings, 60%. Now, it was tracking with President Biden. Biden's was bad. Now it's frankly, well, actually, his was doing worse. Biden's is actually going way down the toilet now.
Yes,
maybe it's just because are Canadians just nicer? Is that the thing? They just don't want to call them out. I mean, I'm just be curious, like on our Canadian friends who are watching today.
Yeah, I am not the expert on Canadian culture.
They used to be nice.
Yeah,
you guys,
they used to be. They used to be like our, they would just, don't worry about it, eh?
Yeah,
it's good.
But I love Canada. I love the Canadian people. So let's just see here. So look, we have a poll. We put up a poll here about Canada. We wanted to ask you about Justin Trudeau. Do you think he's doing a good job? What are the poll results so far?
Okay, so out of 6,200 votes, we've got 3% yes, 87% no, and we have 10% who?
Don't know
so
who he is.
10% don't know who he is.
All right. So the 3% that think that he's doing a pretty good job, let us know why. Right. I'd like to know. Do you think that the vaccine mandates were absolutely necessary and that the crackdown on the truckers was perhaps justified? If so, tell us why. Do you think that social media absolutely needs to be police to the point of users, right, to just average citizens, which is what the Canadian bill has been proposed to do? Do you like those things? What is your thought on the matter?
Yeah, I was going to say that's a pretty good indicator that we've got some Canadian representatives watching our show. So thank you. If you're representing Canada, a representative of the government, we appreciate your views.
Yeah. Tell us more.
Yeah, let us know in the chat here if you're Canadian, what you think about this.
Now, look, this is a small sample, right? But usually these are widely representative, right? In fact, a new CNBC poll out just this week shows that President Biden has the lowest approval rating on the economy of any of his two recent predecessors, Trump and Obama, right? Both of them had some issues with the economy, none worse. Well, Obama's 2008 economy obviously was pretty stinking bad, right? So his approval numbers were low, but Biden has managed to take those a little bit lower.
All right, let's go through these numbers now, shall we? So
okay,
let's
sure.
let's take a look at these numbers here. This is the strong support for Trudeau now in single digits. Strongly approve, strongly disapprove, 41%. And these are, so if we go through and look at how this breaks down, approaching 45% say their finances are worse off than they were a year ago. 1/3 are looking to the future and seeing no relief. Economically, the country is in dire straits, says ARI, the Angus Reid Institute poll. Inflation is at its highest rate in 39 years, and Canadians are feeling the pressure. Of those polled, some claim excessive government spending the last 2 years has fueled rising prices, while others claim the spending was necessary to get the country through the pandemic, also due to external factors beyond the government's control. So Trudeau's track record since being elected Prime Minister in 2015 has been plagued with scandal, as they point out, but finally all of these things may be finally coming home to roost.
You need to do a Command Plus on that when you do those again. Because that's really small font.
Okay.
Try that.
Yeah.
I got it. I know what Command Plus is. I also know how to pinch. You want to see how I can pinch?
Yes, I do.
I can pinch with my fingers. You want to see this on the screen? You see this how you can pinch too. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or you can
Wait,
just...
is that an iPad?
Command Plus.
No, it's just the trackpad on my MacBook. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I was just going to say all of these pain points, right, that lead to a low approval rating seem very familiar to other Western neighbors.
Right. And so
meaning you could have just copied and pasted them from the Biden story.
Well, I mean, it's indicative of these people, these globalists who get together and meet with the World Economic Forum and have this liberal world order agenda that we heard from the Biden White House. The same people as Justin Trudeau meeting with the World Economic Forum, making these same moves towards Canadian farmers, Canadian truckers, pushing clamping down on freedom of speech, clamping down on personal civil liberties. Like, do you see a correlation here? You have to wonder too. I mean,
it's like this formula is replicated in a different country with sort of similar culture, and we get the same thing. So, like, now we have a sample size of 2 for what is actually 3, because if we sort of lump Europe together, right? Sanctions, that we could just sort of write the book that the results are the same.
Yeah. And then you have Canadians who are literally driving across the border from Canada into the United States for cheaper gas. Like, think about that for a second. And then you have the president of Mexico saying, hey, come to Mexico because the gas is even cheaper than in America. Like, this is North America right now.
I mean, meanwhile, there are people who cross the border into Canada for cheaper medicines, right? And so, I mean, what does that show you? Is that man-made borders and man-made systems are total crap.
A lot of people call him Justin Castro. Candace Strike says, I hate Trudeau and I hate being Canadian. Mike says, Canadian here. Older Canadians rely on mainstream media for the news, which Trudeau owns. The mainstream media will never paint the World Economic Forum in a bad way. And that's absolutely true. I mean, we're seeing, of course...
That's pretty much the same thing in the United States. The older demographic is what watches the news for the most part.
Right. So when you think of, there's 30% that support the president, it's like those 30% are sitting at home, like watching the CBS Evening News at 6:30 before Wheel of Fortune comes on or whatever. You know? They're like, it's tough times out there. I support the president. I support the president. Yeah. Where's Pat Sajak? Is that Wheel of Fortune? I don't know.
yeah, it is.
Is there a Canadian Wheel of Fortune?
Where's that Vanna White? Thank you so much for subscribing to our channel. We've been banned, we've been blocked, we've been censored. That's why we started our own website, to stay connected with you for free.
That's right. So head on over to redacted.inc and make sure you're connected with us. You can sign up again at redacted.inc, not .com.